Hey everyone. Coming up on this episode of Front End Fire, we have lots of new versions. Bun has had its biggest release yet, their words. We will talk about whether Remix v3 is the future of web development. And Next.js has a new beta with a bunch of updated React features. So let's get into it. Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Front End Fire podcast, the web development podcast that keeps you up to date with the latest and the greatest in the front end world. I'm your host today, Paige Niedringhaus, and I am joined by my co-hosts TJ Van Tol.
Hey everybody.
And Jack Harrington.
Hey, here to enforce the no bun in the oven jokes when it comes to bun policy on this podcast.
Yes. So we do have a lot of new updates, new releases, new cool stuff to talk about.
It's a big week for that.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the news. All right. Jack, would you like to start us off this week?
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go with Remix v3. Everybody's been anticipating this one. Yeah, so Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson of Remix and React Router fame decided that they didn't like React anymore and that Remix v2 was a React router on top of React competitor with Next.js. But Remix v3, interestingly enough, was going to be a complete departure from all of that. In fact, they were going to use Preact, so not React, but that actually seemed somewhat reasonable. You know, it's kind of React-ish, right? You know, there's a portability path there. But now, no. Now they've got their own, and what they showed was basically a three-part system. They showed a renderer, which is very interesting. We can talk about that. It showed an event system. So this is on top of like custom events and regular browser events. And that's actually, that one was pretty cool. And so was the router side of it. The router side of it was really kind of fleshed out and well done. But none of this was built on top of Preact. This is all just completely its own
From a scratch
thing, vibe coded in 3 months between the two of them. And it was pretty interesting. The rollout itself was like, you know, it was at Remix Jam, and you had the first couple hours were basically like, here we go, here's React Router v7 and the updates in React. And then it's like, let's change everything. And now it's like, I don't know. It was a very interesting rollout.
Was this like a talk they were giving at a conference, or is this like a YouTube video?
It was 3 hours of Remix Jam. So Remix Jam is a one-day thing. I think maybe it was at Shopify HQ or something like that.
Okay.
Since
small
they're
audience,
owned by
maybe 100
Shopify.
people. Yeah. You know, there's actually like a Shopify mascot outside doing a little Shopify dance, you know. Yeah, I don't know what Shopify would think about all this. I have no idea. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. Yeah, so the thing that I think that's pretty controversial about Remix v3 is that it's kind of presenting a new model, at least on the component side, that is wow, how do we explain this? So I think the biggest difference is that it's manual updating. So your components would run just once, right? And then you'd return a function that would render your data, right, from your component.
Yeah.
And then if you need to update it, then you wouldn't there's no reactivity. You literally just call update on this, and that refreshes the component, and it re-renders the whole thing, everything from that point down in the tree. So we got subcomponents, those all re-render too. And there's no VDOM, so it basically renders everything, I guess, to its own memory DOM, and then it compares it against the browser DOM and does any differential. Whether that's keyed or not, I don't know, probably not. And then if there's no changes detected, it doesn't care. It just does it anyway. Like there's none of that guarding. So it's a pretty on the metal system, you know, from that perspective. And it was interesting because I got in some trouble with Ryan on X. I said, you know, this is not this is not fine-grained updating.
Yeah.
And he came back and said, well, I was just joking. And I was like, okay, well, here's the video. Is that a joke? And he's like, yeah, you just didn't get to see me smiling, like, because I wasn't on the screen. I'm like, what? What? I don't, what? But anyway, yeah. So a lot of, there's I talk with a lot of these framework authors, like Ryan Carniato from Solid and, the React folks. And it is interesting to kind of see, they've all experimented with these kind of models before, and there's pros and cons to all of it. And, so this is the first one where they've kind of come out with this direction, and they're kind of like, oh, wow. In fact, there's a funny GIF of Ryan Carniato, like, watching the live stream. And when he did this update, Carniato just put his hand in his palm and was like, oh my God, really? Are you kidding me with this? But yeah, here we are. I don't know. So yeah, Remix V3. You can try it. Even though they released it on C, it is out.
Okay.
You can actually try it. You can do NPM. It was released on a CD. They had CDs.
I heard this, that they handed out CD with a physical CDs with the software.
CDs, which is interesting. I've actually done that. I'm so old that I actually was around when you actually legit shipped stuff on CD.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
It was like
we were there too.
2-3 weeks period of time, but when you had to give them the data, and then they would go and burn the CDs and put the all that stuff on it. It's not so they had this stuff in the can weeks ago. Whatever.
But nobody actually has a CD player anymore. That's the thing. No one has a machine that does that.
Right?
I mean, it's clearly
my
a
Xbox has a
gimmick,
CD. I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
It could be a fun thing to put on the shelf, which I think is probably the intention behind it. It's a kind of fun, interesting piece of swag, I guess. I don't know. But I have lots of thoughts on the framework itself. It's fascinating to me that they are going with a manual update model, because I feel like for all of React's success, the biggest problem that people report all the time are related to performance with rendering and re-rendering. And part of the issue for that is it is very magical, which can be extremely powerful, but it can also get you into a lot of trouble. And if you're not careful, you can have things re-rendering and cause major performance issues. And so in theory, this model would help with that because you are manually triggering updates. But I don't know. Like I have to try this to actually get an informed opinion. But I do love when people experiment with this. I will say that.
Yeah,
because
there's that element of it for sure.
Was there any renaming? Because Remix V3 still seems like the wrong name for this application, this framework.
It seems like something radically different.
Right.
Yeah.
This is way worse than AngularJS.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is like a V2 to a V3. It's not even on the same. There's no compatibility. There's no migration. There's no nothing.
Yeah. That's probably one of my biggest gripes, having not had a chance to try it either. Just like, why did you name it V3? Because it sounds like there is no going forward if you have V2.
Oh Lord, no. Yeah. Like I can't even, like, marketing, yeah. It's just so confusing. I mean, it's going to be confusing to any kind of documentation systems, any kind of, Stack Overflow, any LLMs are going to be like, I don't know what.
Well, I mean, there's some precedence for this. I mean, Python 3 is radically different. I mean, not quite as different as this. This is like completely different, but LLMs know about Python 2 versus Python 3. They'll probably figure this out. I mean, these guys have a big megaphone. They're well known. They've created extremely successful software in our world. So this will have a chance. People are going to try this, and we on the show will definitely be keeping an eye on this for you and start to tinker with it because, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
To bring us back to Planet Reality, though, for a second, like, like React Router is great, but like, and it is very, very popular, but like Remix never really put all that much of a dent in Next.js.
No, it just had a small niche following, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that use it like it, though.
Very excited, but small following, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that you had to pay for it for the longest time to be able to use it, that I think was a massive deterrent in
And I did pay
It's so
for it,
many.
which is money down the money hole.
Never got a refund for that,
No,
did you?
I never got a refund for that one. Yeah, no T-shirt in the mail on that one.
But I think for most people listening to this falls in the bucket of something to keep an eye on. But I would definitely stick with your production framework.
Yeah.
Just
it is nowhere near close to prime time.
Next.js, TanStack Start. Those are the things you want to stick with.
Yep.
Keep listening to this podcast. We'll keep you up to date on whether it becomes more legit, and we'll keep you in the know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is pretty interesting. TJ, what kind of news do you have for us this week?
I've got another version because that seems to be the theme of this episode. I have Next.js 16 beta, which was announced. Woo. It was announced as we were recording our previous episode because we talked a little bit last week. We talked about React 19.2 and we talked about whether it would work in Next.js. And we said, look, well, they're usually good about pushing out updates very fast. Well, they were pushing it up as we were talking, so they are quite good about it. And so Next.js 16, so a major release. There's a lot of stuff in here. It is a beta, so it's probably not something you want to jump on quite yet. Maybe experiment with it if you have a really big Next app. But there are quite a few features in here. So the first is that TurboPack, which is Next.js's sort of faster Webpack alternative that they've built into their framework. TurboPack, they say, has reached full stability for both development and production builds. And so that will be the default in Next.js 16. So currently when you want to use TurboPack, it's a flag. So you do nextdev -- turbo or --turbopack or next build and include that. So with Next 16, it'll just use it. So if you use nextdev, it's going to default to TurboPack. If you want to opt out, if you're still using Webpack, you can do nextdev --webpack or next build -- Webpack. So basically, they're just acknowledging TurboPack is now stable enough that it will be the default for everything you do with Next. But they're keeping older compatibility if you're still on their old build system.
Nice.
Next, so Create Next app, their default app, they redesigned it. They say they have a simplified flow, updated project structure, improved defaults, uses the app router, TypeScript, and whatnot. Their default will use Tailwind as well. So that's kind of interesting, but that's kind of acknowledging that that's, for better or worse, Tailwind has kind of become the default anyways. So
Pretty
they're
much.
kind of acknowledging it and building it right into their default app.
Refuse to acknowledge Tailwind as the default for CSS styling.
Oh, spicy. Okay.
Yeah, just not a fan. Too much clutter in my class names.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm ambivalent. I'm coming around on Tailwind, but I'm still not loving it. So I don't know.
I'm pro, but my LLM does most of the work.
Yeah, we'll see. I have a feeling I'm going to be a convert because I remember if you listen to this podcast long enough, you remember the days where Paige and I were very skeptical about AI. We've been doing this podcast long enough to have come full circle on that one, and
Yep.
If
Didn't like TypeScript.
Yep. Didn't like TypeScript at first, so. If you listen long enough,
I'll bring you to the dark side eventually.
We'll probably convert Paige here at some point.
There you go.
Maybe.
Exactly. You and I are little friends on the CSS moon.
The last feature I'll mention is they are doing things related to the React updates that we talked about last week. So if you want to catch up on React 19.2, you can listen to our episode, the previous episode of this show. But they're updating their version of React. So React 19.2 will be in Next.js 16, as well as the React compiler will be in. So currently in Next.js, to use the React compiler, you have to enable an experimental flag. And so what they're doing, and this is kind of weird and nuanced, but they're considering, since the React compiler is stable, they're taking it out of experimental mode, but they're not opting everybody in. So you still have to go into your settings. And if you want to see the specific syntax, we have the link to the blog post in our show notes, but you still have to enable it. So they're not just turning React compiler on for every new app, but it's no longer experimental. So you can just put in your settings in your Next.js config, and you can enable it if you want to try it out.
Yeah, makes sense.
And there's other stuff as well. Like I said, if you are a Next person, if you have Next.js production apps, it's always worth reading through these to see the full details of what's going on, because they also have some stuff in there that they're doing apparently a complete overhaul of their routing and navigation systems, making page transitions faster. They're doing some new caching APIs. So it seems like a pretty big release. We haven't had a major Next.js release for a while, so it's a pretty big deal. It is in beta, so
I think the caching APIs are the same caching APIs we had since last year, though. Like, it's still the hours, days type deal. It's a nice, elegant caching system. It's just, yeah, not like yet another caching system, like the third round. It's just the second round.
And I didn't read through that one in detail because we don't do it in our. So I mean, at Booz we have a very big Next.js app, so I always read these very carefully. But we don't have any caching stuff going on, so I kind of just
you guys are on the Pages router, right?
We are.
Yeah.
We have not
So
switched.
guys-
We have not
you're
even
gonna-
updated to the app router because so much of our
It's-
application is static site, like pages of docs, and we'd have to redo the entire routing system to make it work with the new app router.
Yeah, and it would also bloat out those pages something fierce.
It's the classic production system. Like if we had our way, we would drop everything. We'd get Turbo Pack in there. We'd get the fully refactored. But the reality we run into reality for better or worse, and so they do a pretty good job keeping their other stuff still working. So we are on the latest version because we have at least kept that up to date. But full refactors is
Well, if I can't get Page on Tailwind CSS, I would much rather actually get both of you on Tanstack Start.
Yeah.
I'd be for that.
I got to try it. Obviously, our big production app isn't switching anytime, but because of my role, I create lots of little small apps all the time. So I've made a mental note that the next time I do that, I'm definitely doing the Tanstack thing, because that's usually my go-to for learning things. Like I did that to learn the sort of svelte way of building apps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Paige got involved with that. Paige went deep on Svelte kits. So, and to anybody listening, that's always the best way to if you've been meaning to learn something, like a small little side project for something is always the best way to kind of dig in.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is very exciting. Hopefully we can upgrade our Next.js app to 16 in the not too distant future.
For sure.
But I have another version update today, which is Bun. Bun has not been in the news lately, so Bun 1.3 came out, and Bun calls it their biggest release yet. And it actually is kind of a lot of stuff.
Big.
I'm scrolling on there. I just opened the blog post and I saw where the scroll bar was, and oh my God.
It's a long blog post. And there's a 7-minute video at the beginning if you want to get all the highlights from the Bun team
I do love
themselves.
their videos. They're so good.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah. So let's talk about what Bun can now do. They want to be a full stack, batteries included JavaScript runtime. So they have a full stack dev server. They have support for all the different SQL databases built in. So MySQL, Postgres, SQLite. They have Redis support. They have routing, cookies, WebSockets, HTTP, isolated installs, and a lot of Node.js compatibility improvements. So Bun is trying to become the Rails of JavaScript runtimes.
I mean, this stuff looks really interesting. This is also on my list of something I need to just build a side project with, because I think what makes them so unique is just the scale of what they're attempting to do here is, I mean, epic. I mean, I guess that's the one good and bad thing about using Bun is when you commit to Bun, because it's got all of its stuff from, database, absolutely everything, but it's impressive.
And I get where they're coming from. Like, I tried to do better SQLite, a couple of days ago, and it was something like Node.js, blew up, and it was OS X compatibility, and I'm like, what is going on? It's just SQLite, for freak's sake, and it's like, and so anything that's got that kind of binary, OS level integration and stuff, if they roll that into runtime, I'm actually okay with that. Because to be honest, like it's fine, and if it works, I'll take that. And I know that those guys, like they are performance freaks. So if it's in there, it's as good or better than any other adapter. So yeah, okay, I kind of get it. The only thing I just worry about being so coupled into a particular runtime. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's always like Bun specific stuff, and it's like, ugh.
Yep. And
I
they
think
they don't stop now. There is Bun init, and you can scaffold a new project, and you can even scaffold like a React project. If you put -- React at the end of it, it will build you a Bun version of a React
Yeah, and it's
application.
not Vite. It's just Bun.
No.
Like it's just literally just it's pretty cool.
They say in the docs that people are moving from Vite to Bun. So yeah, they're competing with Vite.
Well, they're competing with everything.
They are.
I mean, they've got a bundler. They've got all this database stuff. They have all this testing stuff that they talk about. I mean, it's this, like I said, I continue to be impressed by the scale. And I also continue to be impressed by the quality of their video production. I don't know who they have on staff that's making these videos.
I don't think it's staff. I think it's
it's
not frequent enough to be staff. I'm sure they have some.
They must bring somebody in, but I'd like to know who they bring in because it's super well done.
Yeah.
And you got that little Bun plushie that they throw around.
So cute. The little dumpling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have, I mean, some of the highlights that they talk about is that you can run HTML files directly with Bun now. So they have their own native JavaScript and CSS transpilers and bundlers that will bundle everything together for you. They can do an entire project in one executable for cross-platform code signing. So you don't need Node, you don't need NPM, you don't need a container. They'll just bundle everything together for you. And one of the things that is continuously being talked about on this show is their security scanner API, which will scan packages for vulnerabilities, for bad versions that have been flagged as having malware, for all that stuff before installation. And I think, and they're partnering with companies that do this kind of thing for a living. So they're really
That's smart.
Yeah, they're putting effort into it, and they're relying on other experts to really make it solid and not just like some add-on that they threw in at the last minute.
Good stuff. I mean, if I was going to teach like basic, HTML/CSS/JavaScript stuff to high school students or something like that, this would probably be the easiest way to do it. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's one executable. You can literally do like bun index.html, and now you got the page up, and you can do, you can bring it up in Notepad or whatever, VS Code, and just start hacking on it. Sublime, whatever you want, and you just start hacking on it, and you can teach them how to do like,
You can teach them how to add a database. You can teach them about unit testing. I mean, you got everything right there.
Like, oh my God, hold on, wait a second, SQLite, blah, 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 blah. Let's, let me teach you about Node
WSL for this Windows machine.
Oh my God, Windows hell.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, okay. The problem is, my problem with Bun is that I was an early adopter, and then I got stung because there was little bits of incompatibility, and then I tried again, and because I got a buddy who's like, oh, you got to do the Bun thing, and then it's like, oh, I get stung again. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, the Bun team, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that this is only a minor version release. It seems like with all the stuff that they've added, it really should be Bun v2. But I mean, just think what v2 will be if this was a minor version bump.
Yeah. If it's compatible, that's fine. You don't necessarily want people because people can just upgrade right out of PNPM, and it's not going to be like, oh, wow, it's compatible. It's good.
So kudos to them. Congratulations to the Bun team. All right. So I think we also have a bunch of Lightning news and some really fun things. So let's get to that. All right. Who wants to kick us off for Lightning news?
I can kick off with a very quick one. So Firefox version 1.44 is out, and the headlining feature for us is that it has view transition support, finally. So that means all major browsers now support this API. And, you know, it also, it was an API that fell back really nicely anyways, so it was pretty safe to use. But now Firefox users like me are going to have a nice, smoother experience to see the page transitions, which is pretty exciting.
Nice. I have one that is completely not related to web development, but we've talked about it before, so it's worth talking about again. HBO is renaming a bunch more of their services.
This one is so fun. This is so random.
I mean, we talked a few months ago about HBO Max coming back, being resurrected after HBO killed it, called it Max. Nobody else called it Max, and now they're bringing it back. So now they have decided that they will rename all of their other HBO channels, which I did not know existed. But HBO 2 is becoming HBO Hits. HBO Signature is HBO Drama. HBO Zone becomes HBO Movies.
And HBO for me becomes HBO Go Bugger Off.
Exactly.
You know, really, I don't care.
It's just amazing that Warner Brothers
Dragons back. Just go make a bunch of. That's all we want. Just make it HBO, the place where dragons are. You know, dragons. That's all we want. That's all we ever want from you guys. Just bring the dragons back.
Well, yes, I agree with that. I think these channels are all only for people that have cable subscriptions, because that's the only place I recognize them from before. Because when you have a cable box and then you start scrolling into the 600s of the channels, and you're like, what the heck is even down here? But
that's where they put like the streaming audio, like the stations, like audio stations.
Yeah, the music
all day,
stations.
40s. Like, I don't know who listens to that. What do they like? Okay, sure.
Well, somewhere down there in the 600s, if you also pay for HBO through Comcast or Spectrum or whatever, this is where these channels would be. So I think this affects Yeah, exactly. I think this affects a very small amount of people. But it's also like, is this what they're spending their time on? Like, great.
Right.
HBO 2 is now HBO Hits.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was 2 months ago that they announced the remake or the resurrection of HBO Max. They couldn't have done this at the same time.
No, because they had to have some more meetings. They were only halfway through the meetings,
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, they did the release and then somebody's like, but wait, I had an idea. Hold up.
We gotta call HBO Signature HBO Drama. It's very important.
Because like everybody knows HBO Signature. Okay.
All right. I got a final lightning news story. The W3C, so the World Wide Web Consortium, who does a lot of good things, helps the specs behind a lot of the web, HTML, those sorts of things. They have a new logo. Have either of you two seen the new logo?
No.
Okay, this is perfect. I'm gonna drop it in our chat.
Oh, I found out this morning. I'm in the React working group.
You can
just randomly.
Oh, congrats, Jack. That's cool.
I guess, yeah. Okay.
I
found out because they invited me to the GitHub repo. They're like, oh, they org. I'm like, okay.
Nice. That's exciting.
Cool.
They probably, though, have a better logo than the W3C. Because
okay. Here we go.
I have a very hot take here that may or may not be controversial. I think their new logo is a hot mess.
No.
I see what your hot take could be.
If you're listening to this, there's a link in the show notes to this new logo. You should click it. I mean, it's just a mess. You shouldn't have logos that have. So there was words all the way around. There's like 8 words surrounding this logo, which I don't think you should do in a logo. There should not be 8 words in your logo. And then whatever is in the middle, they were probably going for something clever. I don't get it. I don't know.
This reminds me a little too much of the Gavin Belson logo from
Hooli. Yeah,
I don't
from
know
Silicon Valley.
Okay, I'm going to drop that in the chat right now.
Okay.
And just saying. There you go, guys. Live reaction to the Gavin Belson logo from Silicon Valley.
What's funny is it actually looks similar.
It does. That's what I'm saying. You know, like there's got to be a graphic designer around who's like, "Hey, put that in there just for fun," and then they're like, "Yeah, that's the one," and he's like, "No, it's not. It's really not." And they're like, "Yeah, no, that's the one."
Man, the thing is, I don't want to be mean here because the W3C does so much good stuff.
Yeah,
such a good organization, been such a positive thing for the web. But man, they missed on this logo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they missed hard on this logo.
And especially considering all of the logo drama that has been happening lately in pop culture. I mean, the Cracker Barrel logo redesign, that was the biggest debacle of the summer. Yeah. Wow.
Just stay away from the logos, guys. Just stay away from everything. Just shut down your marketing departments. We'll take it from here. Developers will take it from here. We're good.
Yeah, just have Claude build your logo. It's probably going to do a better job than your high-end marketing agency you hired to come up with your rebrand.
Put on safe mode and Claude and then go. Okay.
Oh, man, amazing. All right. Well, apparently that new logo is making us happy, but let's talk about what else is making us happy this week.
Let's do it.
Okay, TJ, what's up for you this week?
Madison, Wisconsin is making me happy.
Oh.
So I just got back from a trip. We went to Madison for work meetings, so I didn't totally get to explore too much, but I did get to look around the city a bit. And it's just a cute, nice little city. I mean, it's the state capital of Wisconsin, so you've got the Capitol building, and you also have the University of Wisconsin. And what they do really well is that the two are just like a mile apart, basically, the state capitol. And so it creates this nice little area where you've got a downtown area, you've got a campus. There was tons of great food. I probably gained like 3 pounds this week eating. Wisconsin is known for their beer, their cheese, their cheese curds, that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I had to eat them. It'd be disrespectful if I didn't participate in that. So,
absolutely.
But it's just a cute little city. The other thing is it's in Isthmus. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly because there's only 2 cities in the U.S. that are built on isthmuses, and one is Seattle, and then the other one is Madison. And Madison, so there's 2 lakes on north and south of the city. And what's cool about that is if you're going out for like a walk or a bike ride, there's some really pretty trails right along the lakes. The lake is right next to the campus. It's just really cute and a really fun little city. I don't know if I'd go if you live in the West Coast, is it worth making a trip just to Madison? Probably not. But if you're in the area, if you're driving through or whatever, I'd absolutely recommend checking it out for a few days. It was a fun little city.
Nice.
Very cool. All right, Jack, what is making you happy this week?
I'm going to join the chorus of folks saying that K-pop Demon Hunters is actually really good.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
I know. I watched like 20 minutes of it, and then I told my kid and their friend, like, oh, you guys should watch this. And they never did, of course, because it's like, an old man saying this. And then last night we were just like randomly like scrolling through movies, and it's like, let's watch that. And then like 10 minutes in, we were glued, and we're like, actually, this is really good. This is really good. And it's like, it's got that, it's not black and white. It's gray. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely a gorgeous film. It's got a great message. And I think it pays homage to the South Korea K-pop thing. You have the South Korean in there, or they have Korean in there. It's great. It's just a great movie. Yeah, if you haven't watched it, like don't let the whole K-pop thing, say, it's a great movie.
Paige, have you seen it yet?
No, the worldwide phenomenon and like it being talked about on national news on the morning has kind of dissuaded me from it. It's like, oh, really? An animated movie that's, the soundtrack is everywhere. Everybody listens to it all the time.
I didn't know that.
We
have the Tiger is amazing.
Oh, the tiger!
I'm all about the tiger.
And the little bird. The little bird is fun
and the tiger
too.
Are amazing, yeah. absolutely.
Paige, we have some homework for you because this movie is so good. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's Sony's animation is world class. They did like a lot of the Spider-Man movies. So the animation is really good. The music is really good. My wife even liked it. She like actively hates K-pop music because I'm I listen to it sometimes. She does not like it, and she still enjoyed the movie and enjoyed the music. So even people that are set up to not like it, it's just, you can't hate it. It's just it's beautifully done. It really
is. Yeah.
I really did like the Spider-Man movies. The animation style is very cool for those. So if both of you are saying I should try it, I will try it.
The other fun thing is there's a fun story behind the movie too, because the woman who wrote a few of the songs and is the singer, she's the singing voice
Rumi.
of the main character.
Yeah.
Rumi's singing voice is a woman, EJ is her name. And she grew up in Korea and went through cause South Korea has whole programs to produce these bands that create K-pop. And she went through that whole process and was basically kicked out because at some point she got, too old for the program or whatever. And then so she got into songwriting and then created a lot of the music, and she's the singing voice behind this. So it's just a fun backstory behind it too. That's what makes it so authentic, right? You have somebody who actually went through their entire program authentically and then kind of formulated it into this, and it's just such a feel good everything.
Yeah, and over the credits, you see them in the vocal booths doing the singing, and
cool.
It's cool. It's great.
So you do have to see it, Paige. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
All right, I will make sure that I do that in the near future. All right. Well, what's making me happy this week is also on television. It is The Gilded Age, which is a television series by Julian Fellows, who also did the Downton Abbey series, which was supremely popular. So if you like historical, kind of Victorian times novels, this one is set in the time of the robber barons in New York, like J.P. Morgan and the main, and kind of like all the Astors, the Vanderbilts, all those people are like not leading characters. It centers on a couple of other families, but they're in those same social circles. So, there's tons of high society galas, and people are building railroads, and they're also making fortunes in the stock market. And then they're trying to, be socialites, and, who's got the best box at the opera and who's marrying whom and all. So if you like that kind of period stuff, which I do, I really enjoyed Downton Abbey. This is like the American version of it. And it's beautiful. The costumes are amazing. The architecture is stunning. It's amazing how much money and just the amount of money that must have been going into making these massive buildings and these gigantic houses and just everything. It's a very fun historical watch.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, this was the era that made us build like antitrust and anti-monopoly laws, because it just lets some people that controlled some of these industries, especially railroads, became like outrageously, unprecedentedly wealthy. So this looks really fun.
It's like why every town has like a Carnegie something in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the era when billionaires actually spent money like back into the society.
Yes, they were
opposed
philanthropists.
to like trying to get to Mars.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They build some really weird and cool stuff lots of times, or they wanted their name all over the place. That's the other big thing.
That was their legacy. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen articles that not particularly about this, but just about the tech billionaires of today and how they don't seem at all interested in giving back to the larger society, whereas before, these billionaires, robber barons, were philanthropists in their later years, and they did leave behind legacies that helped the rest of the public. So, yeah.
Bill Gates is the one exception.
Yeah.
He does a lot of good things, but overall the tech world tends to just sit on their money. There's been stories about all the things Zuckerberg is doing because his The big story in the New York Times because he buys all these properties in like the Palo Alto area, and so when they become available, he just swoops in and he's got this entire complex that he's building there. And I guess if you have that much money,
do something good with it. We need more people doing good with it, not just sitting on it or, like you say, buying mega yachts and trying to go to Mars.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we know some of our listeners are, the architects or tech leads from our survey. So I don't know if we have any billionaires in our listening audience, but if we do, maybe consider giving back a bit.
But yes, it's a fun watch for everything. The storyline's great, the actors are great. It's very fun.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because like I wanted to get my wife into watching it, and for some reason she was like, but I know if I say Paige watched it and likes it, she'll be like,
it's the magic.
Yeah.
It is. It's really
It's
the
a
magic
trump
thing.
card.
It's like, yeah, it is exactly like.
Well, that's the first thing. This is my wife's exact sort of thing, so I'm like actively sending her a message about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also looks like it's on HBO Max /HBO2 /HBO Showtime /HBO.
I can guarantee
whatever.
As we go on out to lunch today in the car, she's gonna be like, "What did Paige have dinner with making me happy this week?" Not you, TJ.
Yeah, that's fine. I like half of my recommendations are like I just second something Paige picked like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I get around to reading it or watching it or whatever. So
yeah,
here's what you need to do, Paige. If you like K-pop Demon Hunters, then come back on and say K-pop Demon Hunters next week, and then I'll be able to convince her to watch it the week after. Because after I watched it last night with just my kid, she was like, "Oh, thanks for watching that. I was going to watch that," and I'm like, "Okay, it's actually like thinking to myself, this is actually a really good movie. You really would like it, but
We should keep track of the things that all of us pick during these segments, because we've got a couple of them, because we've got the like twinkly Christmas lights. Those
yes,
those went around.
Yep.
That's one of our triple recommendations. We should keep track when these things come up. Keep a list somewhere because it's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. All right,
Well, let's hope we get a trifecta on K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I will
exactly.
watch it and report back.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. So thanks everybody for listening. And thanks as always to our sponsor, the Blue Collar Coding channel on YouTube. If you want to come and hang out with us in our Discord, we have a Discord where we talk about all of this and more. And we have a lot of cool people in there. So they're talking about some fun stuff. I would definitely say it's worth your time to check out. And of course, we're always on the socials too. You can find us on X and Blue Sky and LinkedIn and YouTube. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.